Welcome back to Hear Me Out. I'm Dee,
I'm E.
and today we're giving you guys our weekly recap of the Kardashians' new season, season 4. And just know, we still have a love-hate relationship here.
And we're bored because I just feel like this is all repetitive. Like, what's new? I want to see some spice. And right now, I'm bored.
I'd like to point out before we get started that from my understanding, it looks like this took place April-ish because True was born, I think, in April. So therefore, by this point, as much as I may not want to admit it, Kendall Jenner was dating Bad Bunny.
What? Like, how did that even come up? Because you're wearing a Daddy Yankee shirt?
No, because you said you want something new.
Yeah.
So they could have talked about her burgeoning relationship, and they didn't. Instead, we got junk. But you get to those sections here in a second, I'm sure.
Oh my God, you said junk. Who's used the word junk in the recent times? You're aging yourself, okay?
I'm old, and I'm fine with that.
Well, I'm not, okay? All right, so this episode is episode 5, and it's called It Takes a Village. You know, sometimes I don't know why they name things the way they do, because it's not villagey enough for me, but whatever.
I know.
All right, just like other episodes, we're going to divide this in sections and then talk about it. So section 1, we're picking up from the last episode in LA when Khloe asked Kris why she cheated on her daddy. So I thought it was going to, they left off all spicy and stuff. And then it was like, wow, mellow. It's like, well, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So basically, Khloe says to her mom, when you did that to my dad and you had 4 kids with the family, this whole thing, and you were young, which was a big factor, like what made you do that? And then Kris says that she was young and dumb and didn't understand the consequences to her actions. Khloe asked Kris, but what made you do it? Was my dad not doing something that made you look elsewhere? And Kris says, I don't know, because he was such a great husband and a great dad. And, they're putting Robert Kardashian Sr. on a pedestal like they always do.
Right.
So she really didn't answer the question. So I'm assuming this is Todd, right? Todd Kramer. Todd, was it Todd Kramer?
The Todd Cranes?
Todd Kramer, something like that.
Todd Cranes is who she cheated with. I think Todd Cranes is the son of a family friend. But there was someone, maybe named Todd, I don't know, that she cheated with. Because remember, in Keeping Up, there was an episode where Bruce, prior to being Caitlyn, found out that she had given her number to Todd or whomever that person was.
She messy.
Bruce was mad. Completely mad. Because they know.
FAUX mad?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, ma'am.
Well, I did enjoy the skits from Scott. So yeah, it's probably Tom Cranes. I'm trying to remember the episode, but I don't. All right,
that's what it was.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, continue.
So basically, Kris says, I don't know, because he was such a great husband and a great dad. Kris says that she fell into a situation. Who does that sound like? A situation.
I know.
Where she thought the grass was greener somewhere else. She made a huge mistake, and that's her life's biggest regret. Kris goes into the divorce with Rob Sr. She says, like, after they divorced, that, they basically became best friends. They used to talk all the time. I have so many questions. She, in the confessional, she just says that she wants Khloe to be careful before she makes decisions and lets somebody go. Kris is not proud of the way she behaved, but God has a plan, and without all that happening, there wouldn't be a Kendall and a Kylie. Now, I'm going to reserve my comments to myself.
Yeah.
Kris also says that she wants Khloe to be happy. Khloe says that she's already happier than ever because she's with her kids. Her kids come first. Her kids are at an age, for this age, just one time, and she's proud of the time she spends with them and the time that she's investing in them. Khloe just wants to enjoy her time with them. Again, finding a man is not her top priority. She genuinely doesn't want anything right now and the responsibility of someone else.
Okay. So that was super anticlimactic.
It was.
Because they really try to make it seem like, oh my God, we gonna get
this. Gonna throw hands.
Yes, I really, and I was kind of hoping for it because I feel like in previous, and we've of course touched on Keeping Up plenty of times, but there was once where Courtney, Khloe, and Chris were seated together in some living room, and Khloe told Courtney, why do you still have so much resentment towards mom for cheating on dad, blah, 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 blah. And it was like very much like Khloe was on Chris's side, not Courtney's. So I was kind of hoping that now that Khloe was on the receiving end, she would kind of like understand a little bit. I'm not saying to have resentment towards her mother, but you know, it's kind of like, you know, wouldn't you feel some type of way? Like everything you just went through, knowing that your mother did the same thing to your dad, like, I mean, obviously, let bygones be bygones, and it wasn't her relationship, but still, like, you know, especially when your mother is refusing to listen to you and keeps telling you, oh, but your family. Oh, but Tristan's changed. He's so sorry. So that I was just angry. I was like, not only was it anticlimactic, but then it was just kind of like, again, glossed over. And I'm sure Robert Kardashian was an amazing father and everything. But I feel that when you put people on such a pedestal, you kind of create a sort of like faux memory. Like basically you are now amplifying all of the good, right, from this person and forgetting, you know, anything else. Granted, I'm not saying anybody needs to remember the bad stuff of the past, but, you know, I think a lot of what we've seen when it comes to the women in this family stems from this really crazy, like, pedestal that they've put Robert Kardashian in. And then this romanticized idea of the sort of relationship that they had, Robert and Chris, as parents or whatever. So, you know, it's kind of like, it felt a little bit weird. And I feel like Chris does that so often, or at least she used to, where she just kind of, even back when she was married to Caitlyn, she made it seem like Robert Kardashian was like, you know, the love of her life. Basically like the Jada to the Tupac. Like that's basically what she's kind of doing.
Yeah.
So it was frustrating, you know, watching that. And then even more frustrating because Khloe has once again fully outlined why she's fine, why she doesn't need to go back, and yet they're still not listening to her. So yeah, my first annoyance of the night with them.
Oh, the first one.
Oh yeah, girl.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm just trying to anticipate the other episodes. I'm like, what are we getting? Like, like nothing controversial has happened. The Dolce & Gabbana drama is done.
Right.
Courtney doesn't even want to film at this point, which is a blessing because I'm tired of seeing her attitude. I guess Kylie is way too busy, you know, trying to, you know, get her, what was it, 40% back from Cody?
Yep.
And then Kendall shows up to depress me. I know this is very insensitive, guys, but I'm gonna say it, to depress me, to talk about her anxiety.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just, I don't know. But going back to this section, I just think that, yeah, I agree with you. They just romanticize, you know, this whole idea of a family and let's forgive. And it's just crazy how, you know, how much the Kardashians and like maybe even the Jenners are like their mom and like trying to put the dads of their children on this pedestal. They're such a great dad. They're my best friend. Like we're hearing Chris say this and we've heard Khloe say it like 10,000 times. Yeah. They've been, you know, telling us this narrative that Tristan is a great dad, you know, throughout this whole season. Like he's the dad of the year award. I don't know, to 2 out of the 4 kids, but whatever. Who's doing the math? That's half. Um, so it's just crazy how much we learn from our parents,
Yeah,
directly and indirectly, and how influential they are to our lives
right. And
and our
it's
relationships.
and that's I think it's a natural thing. Obviously, they're the ones who raised us. They are our initial examples of everything. But after a
Hmm.
certain point, once you get to a certain age, you have to kind of deviate from that if it's not good for you. And I
Yeah.
think that like by
Courtney
now,
figured it out.
I mean, yeah, at least Courtney did, but I don't know that the other ones really have. Like it kind of feels like they're still kind of stuck in this sort of fantasy of what life with a partner is supposed to be like. And I mean, life
Hmm.
is messy. Life is so messy. They know that. And yet they're still clinging on to this other thing. And
Yeah.
if we continue to do that, obviously I'm not wishing this on nobody, but it's like if you continue to cling on to something that you want to be a certain kind of way, you're never going to find real happiness because it's never going to measure up. And right now, I feel that like none of the men that they're with are measuring up to Robert Kardashian in some way. And so it's like,
Mhm.
are you really going to continue to hold on to this idea or these ideals of a romanticized past when you could just let go without forgetting your father, without thinking he's amazing? Like none, I'm not saying to do any of that, but like, but just move forward.
Hmm.
Things
Yeah.
are different.
Well, all right. Section 2, we're in Paris, France. The soccer tour is underway. It continues in Paris, and they're going to see PSG play. While in Paris, Kim was also meeting with Choupette, Karl Lagerfeld's cat. This was very keeping up. I think this was very much like one of my favorite parts. It was just so like dumb and like I don't even know how to describe it, but it was just dumb TV that I just needed for like 10 seconds.
Yeah, I can see that.
So Kim is meeting the cat,
It sure is.
Karl Lagerfeld's cat. That's her date to the Met Gala. Kim says that she's still learning how to be a single parent. And she says the struggle my kids have to go through has nothing to do with the help that I have. So obviously, having a chef and a nanny is beyond helpful, but it takes a village, the title.
Takes a
It
minute.
takes a village to raise kids, but at the end of the day, your kids only want you. She says that she splits her time with work, family, and her 4 kids and makes sure that her kids have 90% of that time.
You know, like I think it's very crazy that anybody has a reason or a right to say anything about the way in which someone chooses to raise their kid if it's not detrimental to the kid. Like
Hmm.
she's fortunate, right? Like she has all of these availabilities and all of these, things at her disposal, and that's great for her. And so I don't, I'm not gonna hate on her for it. I think it's evident that she very much loves her kids, that she very much, wants to raise them well and wants to like always, at the very least have them be a part of something or other, and or she dedicates some kind of space and time just for them despite how busy she may be. Um and nobody's saying that about Kanye. Like nobody's like saying how like, oh, he's so fortunate he can have nannies, he can have cooks and all this and that. Nobody's saying that about him. It's like, oh, he's got his 4 kids, oh my gosh, he's like a super dad. Why? Like, meanwhile she has them for a larger percentage of time, and she still looked as, oh well, you're just lucky because you get to have all these things anyway, so how hard can it really be for you to parent? And I
Yeah.
think that's a dumb narrative.
But, that's her reality, first of all. These are rich people problems.
Right.
She has a chef and a nanny, but how many times, I don't know, I'll use me as an example. How many times have I babysat my niece? I'm technically a nanny for that day.
Right, right.
A chef, how many times do you go over to, let's say, your parents' house or a friend's house and they have a meal ready for you, or be like, hey, come eat. That's a chef right there, right? I mean, my mom does it all the time. She's like, come pick up some food. I'm like, okay. Like, that means I don't have to
mom.
You cook well. I don't have to cook. I don't have to clean the stove and all that stuff. Pans. It's a win here. So everybody has this kind of help, for the most part, in their own kind of way, whether it's paid, whether it's family, whether it's friends, people can't get mad at Kim for just living her reality. And it's true what she says. At the end of the day, the kids want you. They don't want to be away from their parents.
Yeah. That was something that I think was the best thing she could have said, because it's completely accurate. I mean, you see it on the trip. Like, Staines will be like jumping around with his friend, but immediately he'd be like, mommy, it's like, you see that, right? Like, so it's very true. And a parent that doesn't have the amenities or, whatever that Kim has can still very much agree with what she said in that regard. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm glad she did.
I think so. Yeah, so apparently she was getting a lot of flack for saying something like that, a chef and this and that. If I can afford it, I will pay for it gladly, and I don't care what y'all say. That means I don't have to cook, I don't have to clean, and a nanny, I think, or that could be your daycare.
Right. Right.
Daycare, a nanny, that facilitates your life, whether it's you're going to work or it's you're running an errand or, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it, but, they just people are mad because she's a billionaire and she's complaining about normal people problems, but, it's still problems that people have.
It is. Yeah.
All right. Section 3. We're in LA with Scott at one of his properties that he's flipping. Kendall shows up and she says she's still interested in flipping homes. Scott tells Kendall he might need back surgery because of the accident he had. And then apparently he went on a dirt bike and then he fell on his tailbone and now it's like worse. I don't know why he would do that in the first place, but neither here nor there. Kendall says she needs help with Cairo, her dog. This is rich people problems now.
Right.
She says that she has a wild dog and has serious separation anxiety. Kendall says her anxiety has been really bad. It's one of the reasons she's scared to have children. She wonders if it's going to get worse, her anxiety as she ages, and says that, in the confessional to the producer, that she thinks that her anxiety started about age 8. She thought that there was something wrong with her. So she made her mom do like all these tests, like her heart, her lungs, and, all this. I mean, it's pretty interesting that at 8, I'll be like, hey, can I have like a echo? Because I think there's something wrong with me. I don't think I was thinking like that at 8.
Angiogram, just, whole body.
Me. I don't think I was thinking that, but hey, she was self-aware. I give her that. Scott says it sucks when people judge you. How can you be anxious when you're pretty, have money, you work, you have a great job? I'm like, Scott, get with it. People are not relating. But then he says you can have all those great things on paper, but you still don't feel great. So I'm like, yes, you brought it back, because I'm like, okay, Scott, it's not working.
Stop.
Oh, and also Kendall says that she does feel guilt, even feeling like she has anxiety, because she has a lot of blessings. So she would just hope that people are more kind, or I forget the word she used, like more compassionate about these situations, which I'm not, I guess, because earlier I was insensitive. What? I admit it. I'm self-aware.
Okay, like, I appreciate her speaking about it, because it is true. You can have everything in the world and still not be okay. And it's not because you're doing anything wrong. It's not because, you're missing something. Sometimes it's just a chemical imbalance. Like, sometimes that is just the way that the makeup of your head, your brain, or whatever is, and it causes you to feel a certain kind of way. I'm sure that for her, being in the limelight, being criticized 24/7, 365, amplified all of that. Could it get better? Maybe. I think so. Once she gets older and maybe she kind of sheds some of that, insecurity that could be causing it to continue, especially being in the public eye.
Do you
But
think
also,
Bad Bunny is easing this, her anxiety?
I don't know. I mean, not with the way that Bad Bunny fans criticize and judge her. So probably not. But like I said, I think it's a good topic to discuss, especially when other younger girls, I'm sure, probably go through certain things, feel certain things, and may not be like fully aware of what's going on. And it's like, it happens. And I think you and I have talked about it, like, especially for our generation, the things we've lived through. How do we not all have anxiety and depression? Like, I mean, granted, I battle like anxiety. It doesn't come as often anymore, thankfully. But yeah, we've all gone through like insane amount of things in a very short period of time. I mean, one of my first like craziest memories that I can think as far back to like being like a very significant moment is Columbine, and being in 6th grade and hearing about that. Like, I couldn't imagine anything like that ever happening, and then it did, and then it never stopped. And now everybody's just kind of desensitized to stuff like that. And it's like literally successively that happened. Then you had 9/11. Then you had like the recession, all these other things that just kept happening. And we just got out of a pandemic. How people are still
We
walking.
have social media now, which is like everybody's highlight of a life.
Yeah.
So now you start to feel like, insignificant or inadequate about certain things. Okay, I guess I'll give her some grace. I could see that. You see billionaires and, I don't know, fun stuff, driving nice cars. I mean, I can see why.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes, you can't help it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and it can just happen like out of nowhere. I mean, and even for us, given that we're Hispanic, I'm surprised we're not even more filled with anxiety. We grew up with novelas, like dramatic as hell.
That's so true.
I'm just saying.
Well, I'm dramatic at heart. I don't know what you're talking about.
Real quick side note, since she mentioned that she was 8 years old when she first, saw that, I remember I was probably around the same age.
Really?
When I don't know if that was like a full-on anxiety attack, but I freaked out because the elementary school that I was going to was across the street from my parents' home. Like, kind of my home was a little bit like where I could see it like at an angle, and my mom always used to have the back door open. And one day we came out to recess, and the door was locked, or not locked, but the door was closed. And I freaked out. And I just was like, where's my mom? Why is the door not open? I freaked out so much. I faked my fainting. I had to call my mom. My mom literally had been in the shower. That's why the door was closed. And she came to pick me up and took me home. And they thought that I was malnutrition, that I was like, anemic, low on iron. They put me on vitamins, the Flintstone vitamins. And yeah.
With you. I didn't even know this story about you.
Yeah. So hopefully my mom never hears this because I'm sorry.
I don't even know what to say. On that note, let's go to True's 5th birthday.
Yeah.
The next section. So we have a special guest. True and Dream are there. Tristan decides to show up and grace us with his presence, annoying the shit out of me. Khloe says it's crazy how time flies, and she just wants to savor every moment. I guess her family relative. I don't know who she is. I can't remember.
Cece?
Huh?
Cece? I think she's
yeah, I think that's her name.
Yes, I think.
She's related to Chris. I'm like, I know there's like a cousin that looks much older, but I don't remember, whatever. So I guess Cece asks Khloe if Tristan is driving her crazy, and Khloe says sorta. And Kylie was there, Kai, with her new fashion line. Mm-hmm. And she asked Courtney if she was pregnant, and Courtney said no. But clearly it's obvious that she is.
Clearly.
Clearly.
Are we done with the section?
I mean, if you want me to go to the next one, I have nothing to
No.
say.
Cece, the real MVP. She's the
She
only
is.
family friend that has kept it real. I love her. I have nothing to say about Trish Trash. I'm done with that person.
So now, is he hired to be like the Scott of the Kardashians, like a supporting actor kind of person?
Don't even go there, because
No, he was there all loud and proud, like this was ESPN saying this is a Trusseldorf's, birthday party, and we love her. And I'm like, who cares? Go away! I don't want to see you. This show is called The Kardashians, not Tristan Thompson.
The Kardashians and Disick.
Disick, well.
He sounded so fake.
I know, and I'm like, and they're putting too much makeup on you. Like you're just. I don't know if he's getting Botox or makeup or something. I don't know.
Oh, hold on. One other thing, because yes, of course, naturally Courtney was pregnant. Girl, stop playing. Kai, whatever. No, irrelevant right now. In that scene, but okay. Anyway, I love Stormy. I love True. I love all they're so cute. But Corey Gamble.
Wait, I don't think that's the section yet. Oh,
was that not part of this section?
No. There's a little break.
I'm gonna hold it. Let's keep going.
Yeah, hold it. All right, the next section, we're back in Paris. This is whiplash. Like, so Kim is meeting Chopette, the cat, now. And the cat is like, shh. I was like, that cat is vicious. So Kim says that she did her first fashion show when she was pregnant with Karl Lagerfeld. And, she did some more shoots after. She was trying to bond with this cat, but this cat was not having it. So then she realized that she needed like some other plan, and therefore Chopette is out of the Met Gala. 1 minute you're in, next minute you're out. In my Heidi Klum voice.
So, section. How ridiculous are you trying to take a cat? And then when
Doja Cat dressed up as the cat.
Let's not even talk about that person. But when the cat, Chopette, was very much being their real self, I loved it. I was like,
I loved it too.
Real thing, Chopette. Like, I'm cool with you. And then Kim came back down to reality, and I was done with the whole section. Thank God.
But I think it was so funny, very keeping up, it was so ridiculous. Like she even thought of this.
So ridiculous. Like, and so I was grateful that Chopette did us all a favor and said no.
But that would have been funny though. This is me being maniacal now. If she would have got with the cat, and then the cat would have just ran away somewhere, and she's chasing the cat. And the pearls, I think she was wearing pearls this year, right?
Yeah.
And then the pearls break, and then the superstitions. Oh my God. Ugh. It would have been chaos. I would have loved it. That would have been the Met Gala of the Met Galas.
She would have never been like that. But here's the thing. Even from when I heard it, the last episode that she talked about it, I just kind of felt away. Like, but you wasn't like besties with Karl Lagerfeld to be taking Chopette like that. Like, I would understand if it would have been one of, like, his closer people. Cara Delevingne was always, seen with him and doing work with him. I would have understood if she showed up to the Met Gala with Chopette.
Yeah.
Not Kim Kardashian. So I think that was kind of why I went into it like, que ridícula.
No. How ridiculous, guys. All right. So we're back at True's birthday party. The producer asks Khloe, your mom and Corey are hopeful for a future for you two being Tristan and Khloe. Khloe says that it's confusing to people because her and Tristan get along so well, but other people want more. Khloe says she's comfortable right now. She likes the space. She likes this modern family. Corey enters the chat in a semi-incoherent way. I'm like, Corey is not well-spoken in the slightest. How him and Chris communicate stumps me as much as Kendall and Bad Bunny. So he was saying something, but this is what I gathered, right? He was trying to say that Khloe's going to be sad when Tristan moves. Everything is great now. Tristan is such a great dad. Family unit together. Blah blah blah. Then Tristan said, "When Papa's in the house is whole." So, Lord, I don't even know what to say. Oh, also Courtney's there. Chris offers her coffee, and Courtney says she doesn't drink sugar, coffee, soy. She's gluten-free, alcohol-free, life-free because I don't know what she's consuming. Right. And Tristan is finally moving out, and Khloe's concerned about True.
So, F. Corey, kudos to you on the translation. But
right, he wasn't like, I'm like, Corey, what are you saying? Like, these are not even full sentences.
Anywho, no. Again, annoyed and just like anger. Like, why? And then, okay, last thing. When Khloe said she was concerned about True, completely understand. That I get. Because, like she said, True had not really grown up with him being at home. Now, here we are, having spent a few months where he was there every single day. Yeah, that can definitely, like, you know, make a child feel a certain kind of way. So I feel bad for True. But maybe Khloe should have thought of that before she invited him to come and stay.
I was about to say that.
Because that was always going to be a tricky situation. Whether you slept in different bedrooms or not, it was always going to be in a different, you know.
Let's believe her. She was trying.
Okay.
I can't stand you. But on a serious tip, when Tristan said, when Papa's in the house is whole, and he was just like over there smirking, and like he kind of repeated the same thing like 2 or 3 times, and like with his little smirk. I know, call me Judge Judy, I'm reading into it, but that just tells me that he hasn't changed, because it's like, oh yeah, I'm not here, the house ain't whole. Like, you need me. Like, I feel like he still hasn't changed. Like that other episode where he was like, you're my person, you're this, you're there for me when my mom died. And, you know, you did this for me and you did that for me. It's all gimme, gimme, gimme. Mm-hmm. It's not, I'm changing. That's my problem with Tristan. He could cheat 75 times and Khloe wants to take him back to 76. That's her life, her business. She likes it. I love it. The problem I have is every episode he says things and he does things, and it shows me that he has not changed. That's my problem.
You know, again, I'm not really going to like go into anything with that man or call him that, because I think I've said enough for a lifetime. But what to me really signifies the fact that he hasn't changed is that he has no self-awareness of the damage he's doing to Khloe and to True. Mm-hmm. You know, Tatum is still a baby. He's still too little. But the very same way that Khloe should have known better than to have him stay there, and then how that was going to affect True, he should have known better. If he was so about his family and this and that, you should have known better. You should have definitely known better. And then here you are, once again, trying to insert yourself into this woman's life when she's trying to move on, when she's trying to let go.
Which is selfish.
It's selfish, it's narcissistic, it's all of the negatives you can think of. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, and the fact that, like, the people around, the family, doesn't seem to, like, care about that like for whatever reason they think, oh, he's like this transformed man. Why? Because he does his job as a father and takes his kids to school. Oh wow. Give him a cookie.
School bus can do that.
Like, okay, it just seems so like it's just too much. And I don't know. I like could not understand how Khloe manages through all of that, because I would have already like thrown everybody out my house. Get out now. Don't come back until you can tell me better. Because
Mhm.
too much.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, I don't know if it's because I have a natural disdain for him at this point, but I feel like everything that he's done or every appearance that he's had on this show, it seems like a facade. Like this is not him.
Yeah.
Like it's not natural to him. Like we know Scott, he's gonna rank on XYZ. Like we know Scott, like, you
Mm-hmm.
know, for all of keeping up. We know that he's going to say something slick, something funny, something inappropriate, or we're going to
Yeah.
cringe sometimes. But we know Scott. We know everybody's personality at this point. And
Yeah.
granted, he hasn't been shown, but
Right.
to me, it's like he's putting up this I'm this angelic person and I'm reformed and I'm changed. And
Yeah.
but it's not. It feels, what is the word? Disingenuous?
Yeah.
This whole situation. I'm like, this revamp, this rebrand of him needs to stop because everybody's annoyed. You're not going to have a season 5 if you keep playing.
No, I can't. I can't. At this point, it just feels very sad. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like wow, this is just. It's like watching a train wreck. Literally.
Yeah. All right. The next section, we're in Paris at a PSG game. The kids got Neymar shirts. They're meeting the players at the game. Kendall also shows up because she's in Paris. She's shooting a campaign for L'Oreal. Kim says that Saint is in a soccer league, but he had never scored a goal. But once he came back, he scored 3 goals in his first game, and she was so proud because he was like so inspired, and she was really happy.
I think that was my favorite part.
It was.
Having 2 nephews that are obsessed with soccer and both play soccer, having been to plenty of soccer games, I know how much these kids like put on themselves when they don't score, when they don't do these things, and then the overwhelming joy when they finally score. How many times my nephews have come up to me like, I scored a goal, or I scored 11, and I'm just like, oh, wow, okay, that's great. So it was like really, it was really cute, and I think also like, you know, another one of those like, she's a mom, this is a relatable thing, you know. That she was just at the PSG game in Paris and went on the pitch and met the players. But aside from all that,
On Kim Air.
On Kim Air, but
with his besties.
I think I'm done. Okay.
But it was relatable. I'm like, oh, that's cute that he was like inspired. Is like, oh, let me be a better player. I think that was nice.
Yeah.
It's relatable. All right. The next section, we're in LA at a photo shoot at Courtney's house. Very cringeworthy photo shoot. Courtney says Lemmy is growing and they're coming up with new products all the time. With the new products, she's constantly doing content. So, you know, we have snippets of that. Courtney says that silly criticism doesn't bother her. She thinks it's funny. And she's also going on tour with Trav for Blink-182. And she's going to try to go to as many shows as possible.
Yeah. No.
No? What? She's your favorite. Like, you have nothing to say?
She's definitely not my favorite. You know, it's interesting that like any scene with her now, it's either her and Travis or her and Simon and those people. And it just kind of like feels like I'm watching another show and I don't like it. Yeah. So no. It's a no for me.
Yeah. You know, this is the separation that we needed, but it's also kind of sad. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I think I follow like a lot of Kardashian like old clips from Keeping Up and stuff, and it's like you see, yeah, they've had their little spats here and there, but you know they were like pretty tight knit. I think, you know, there was like an episode where Kim is like not feeling well, and she was having a fight with Courtney, but Kim called Courtney and says, "Hey, come pick me up. I need to go to the hospital. Courtney picks her up and she's like, what's wrong? And then Kim's like, I'm pregnant. She was pregnant with North and she was having all these pains. And then Kim was apologizing. Like it seems like Kim is always apologizing. She's like, oh, I'm so sorry she's like, that's not even important right now.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. To now seeing this, rift that, I think it started once, she turned 40 or was having that meltdown kind of thing.
Yeah.
Probably along with other things. But now you see like this divide. Like she doesn't care about her family. And granted, her family could have hurt her a lot, in the process. But it's just sad to see that, the three amigos, the three sisters are not, together like that anymore.
Yeah, and I think that's why it doesn't feel like it's really like a part of the same show. Watching it, I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm kind of over Courtney and Trav, so they just need to leave the show altogether. Adios, girl. Next section. So it's Scott and Chris. It's 5 a.m. and Scott is going to go get an epidural. I still don't know what he had gotten done, but I know he was getting an epidural.
For a steroid epidural. Really do in the back. Yeah.
I was about to say it was only a 15-minute process. That's all I know. All right, so they went to the same place where Chris got her hip surgery, and she was like, "Oh, I have PTSD. Oh my God, this and that." And Scott was like, "This is not about you, girl. Bring it down a notch." Kim called Scott to make sure that Scott was okay and that he was not by himself, which I thought was very nice.
Yeah.
Or staged. I don't know which one. So apparently Chris was saying, I love Scott. He's like my son. Da, 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 da. As soon as he goes in, well, I got to go. And I was like, okay. 15 minutes later, Scott's out. The nurse is asking him, who's picking you up? He's like, Chris left? She left. You said you love that?
Part of the show, I was like,
what? But now Scott's at home and Kendall is there. And then, what I said, they were mocking Chris saying, "Oh, I love you." And then you just leave me. Kendall says, "Don't take it personal. She'll do that to me too." And basically recapping all her excuses, like, "Oh no, I gotta go. I gotta film. Oh no, I gotta do this. Oh no." I believe it too.
That's why it was my second favorite. I was like, "Yep, I can see that."
Kendall also scheduled a sound bath for both of them to calm them down, to chill them out. Sound baths play crystal singing bowls. She says it's very soothing and meditative. Scott fell asleep though. So I guess it relaxed him.
I mean, yeah, it did something all right.
I love people that do these things. I wish I was that zen.
Yeah.
But I find those things hilarious. They'll be like, relax, and I'm like, close your eyes, and I'm like, what is everybody doing? I need to know what people are doing. I'm like, are they really relaxing? Why aren't I relaxing? Oh my God, when is this over? Huh?
You have trust issues. What are you doing? What's going on?
I know, it's like, how are you so calm right now? And what are you doing? What are you thinking over there? It's worse. That's giving me anxiety. It's doing the opposite effect.
Oh man, that whole scene was just hilarious. Like, I love Scott, but I could never do that shit with him either. I feel for Kendall. I really do. And I don't really normally care for her, but I was like, girl, I feel you. You can't do that with him ever.
She set herself up. She should know better.
She did.
All right, the next section, which is, I guess, the big one-ish. Khloe and Malika are at some restaurant. It was like Cocina something, so I'm guessing it was Italian. Khloe says Malika gives it to her straight and tells her how she feels in a loving way. Malika asks Khloe if she's like this every day, implying her mood, and asks, "Do you have any joy?" And I was like, damn, Malika, I didn't know you had it in you, girl.
Right?
Khloe says, yes, when I see my kids. Tristan finally moved out. She's talking about it, but he's a block away, so he's still walking back and not giving my girl space. Khloe says that prior to Tristan's mom's passing and his house flooding, Khloe and Tristan were barely speaking. I think later we find out, I think they weren't talking for like 6 months or so.
Yeah.
Malika says that Khloe needs to do a little more for herself, says Khloe used to be the life of the party. Khloe says, I still am the life of the party. Malika goes, what party? You're not going out. I was like, dude, that hurts. Khloe says that she's just basically overwhelmed with life. Malika tells her that she has to practice what she wants to become eventually. She says that Khloe has to give herself something else. Khloe says that her mom is so forgiving and says if anyone did what Tristan did to her to True, she would and smile while doing it, which is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Khloe says that she's been cheated on by many people. She dealt with this. She got over it. But this situation, which brings a little more insight, this other situation of getting someone pregnant while she secretly is having a surrogate pregnant is wild. She didn't talk to Tristan for about 6 months, but they're now good friends. So she says. Khloe says, someone's form of healing is not my form of healing. She needs to do what speaks to her soul. She wants to date people eventually. She wants to go in a room and walk in and be proud with her man and not think that people are laughing at her for being a weak bitch for staying with someone, which is also interesting.
Yeah.
Malika says it takes a strong woman to forgive people, and Khloe is far from weak. Khloe says that she's not attracted to Tristan in a romantic way, like she doesn't see herself kissing him or, whatever. Khloe says that she's tried to save her family, but, apparently, obviously, it didn't work. And Malika says, so it's not a never. And Khloe says, I don't know. It's definitely not now, which leaves kind of like a door open for a reconciliation kind of thing. But yeah. She said a lot of, big things, like she wants to walk in a room and not be embarrassed, which I know we've mentioned before. Like you're walking in. She said that, basically forgiving him for getting someone else pregnant while she's secretly having a surrogate pregnant. That whole situation is wild. Like, this is beyond cheating. He's just borderline disrespectful in a whole other sphere, like a whole other stratosphere.
And I think that's probably like what, is the hardest thing for her to get over. It's like the cheating, sure, she can deal with it. She's dealt with it already. But this is definitely like a whole other level. And what pissed me off was Malika basically saying, why don't you try to save your family? It's like, excuse me, whose side are you on here? I thought you tell it to Khloe straight, blah, blah, blah. But here you are, like, basically trying to get her to go back to that man. Like, if Khloe...
Well, I think it was because maybe she thought that, Khloe's kind of sad that he moved out. So, that's when that whole conversation sparked of, well, saving your family and this and that. So I think she's ultimately looking for Khloe to be happy. I don't think that's the outcome that she necessarily wants. I think she's just trying to gauge where Khloe's at.
Interesting. I did not take it like that. I took it as yet another person telling her to go back. So, I mean, I think it's very clear that while she may forgive him, and whatnot and move on certain things, at the end of the day, she still has some trauma from all of that. Even with what she said concerning it happening to True, I think it's very, kind of like obvious that she she still has that trauma, and she would never, want her daughter to go through that, understandably. So it's kind of like, maybe by that extension, it's like you don't want to put yourself through that again. And then the whole thing about walking into a room and being proud of your man, like, clearly there's also trauma from the fact that people have constantly criticized her for taking him back, and people looking at her, funny because of it or whatever. So there's a lot, like, there's still so much, unfortunate stuff there. And I just, like, if she decides she wants to go back to that man, that's her life. But I can see why she would have, like, some of that, lingering PTSD from it.
Yeah. That was a serious disses there.
Yeah.
It was like the true pregnancy that she went into labor early because of this whole thing. It was the family friend. Yeah. It was the let's go to therapy and fix it all and have another baby. And then you do. I feel like it's like more than the cheating. It's like who you're cheating with, the timing of your cheating, like the things that you're doing are contradicting what. Yeah, it's not just like a physical, oh, I had a one-night stand or I had an affair, not that that's great because, I still will want to, I'm not going to say mean words here, but I think this is a whole other emotional, very deep wound.
Yeah. And that
for her
won't heal with him being around all the time. So, if let's say she were to take him back, could she ever trust him? Could she ever really feel, proud of him? Proud to walk into a room with him? Like,
I don't think she's been proud because remember when he proposed and she didn't tell anyone?
Oh yeah.
I think then there was like another instance. So she's already felt this.
Yeah.
So now it's like amplified with the latest and greatest of Tristan Thompson, 4T.
Yeah. And then her bringing up True. It's like, obviously, you are the example to your daughter, and the last thing you would want, obviously you don't want her to hate her father, but you don't want her to be with a man like her father. So if you don't want that for your daughter, why would you want that for yourself? So I think that's probably where her mindset is at. And I think her kind of like leaving it a little bit open-ended is probably more so that she's not,
the what if?
Not just the what if, but more so she's not like, so it doesn't look crazier than it already is, and so that if somewhere down the line her kids watch this stuff, it's not fully bad, when it comes to him. And who knows, maybe that's been part of the rebrand, part of like the rehab they've been trying to do of Tristan, is so that when his kids do watch this, and they probably will, it won't come out as bad because their mom is, forgiving. But it's just sad. And like I told you earlier, I mean, I don't feel she has anybody in her life that is like team her. Not really, because I feel like it always goes, they keep tying her to him. Everything is just tied to him. It's like, where is just Khloe, Not Khloe as a mom, not Khloe as a family with Tristan, not Khloe with Tristan, just Khloe on her own. And I don't think any of them have really like, focused on that. How many confessionals has Chris done, or the other ones where they're like, oh, I feel so bad for Khloe because when Tristan leaves, or I feel so bad for Khloe because the family with Tristan and da-da-da-da. Like, none of it is hopeful to her.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And I just really didn't like overall the episode because of that. And it's been a running theme already this season. We're about to be halfway through. Oh, we are halfway through.
Yeah.
Anything, and it's annoying.
Which is annoying. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Well, as of October 2023, she's not with him.
Right.
This is what, April, you said?
Yeah, I think it was April.
So I
Yeah.
think she needs more boundaries. You look at me telling her what to do. That it might hurt the kids, but I think it'll help them in the long run also.
Yeah.
Because now she's worried about True, and like, oh, now she kind of messed up the flow of what it used to be, and now the kid is accustomed to having both parents there. I think there needs to be more boundaries. I don't think he needs to just walk over and like tuck her to bed every night and da da da. I think separated days. I'm not a parent, but this is basically my thoughts. I have divorced parents. How custody splits or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that is the best way, because Khloe would have time to herself.
Yeah.
And time away from him. Like, he's always in her face. Like, I think those 6 months are probably the best thing that she's had, where she didn't really talk to him. Yeah. Because now she's been able to formulate the thought of, I don't want to be with him. Like, I just want this. I want boundaries. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
So I think there needs to be more separation so she can breathe. Mm-hmm. The kids spend quality time with him only.
Yeah.
Of course, joint functions. That's fine. That's the Kardashian way.
Right.
But if she had this extra time, like, he's not all up in her nacho.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that makes like a lot of sense though. I mean, if you were to do like, the custody thing and he would have them some days and then she, whatever, like that would be beneficial for her, probably for her mental health, her overall health. Yeah. But I don't think Khloe would want to not have her kids with her. Like, I feel like her kids are like,
yeah, in
a way, they've been kind of, yeah. And that's kind of like also becoming a crutch, Mm-hmm. And so it's like, and I'm sure that plenty of moms go through this, it's like holding on to the kids is, what you can do in order to get through. And then it's like, eventually, you gotta also make time for yourself. So hopefully she does one day. Hopefully she finds the right man in her life one day who's not going to be a bum.
Well, guys, let us know what you think about this episode. What was the funniest part? Was it the cat being mean to Kim? Was it Scott falling asleep during the sound bath?
Oh my God.
How are we feeling about Khloe not really providing us the answers that we want? Is she gonna get back with him? Yes and no. Just tell us, girl. Do you feel the same way? Let us know in the comments. But that concludes today's episode. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos. Also, please share our video. We're trying to grow our community, so your friends could be our friends and we can all be friends. We also have social media, which Steele'll tell you about.
We are on Instagram and TikTok at Hear Me Out DNE. So make sure you guys follow, like, share, comment. We love interacting with y'all.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.